Welcome to this year's Fall Sports Player Parent Meeting. This year we're going to attempt to conduct this meeting online through Final Forms to better work with everyone else's schedule and to work with our personal schedules here, which is making an in-person meeting this fall difficult. Please take the time to review the material in this presentation, and as always, if you have any questions, you can always contact the athletic office directly. One of the most important topics we discuss at the Fall Sports Player Parent Meeting is eligibility. In order to meet OHSAA eligibility standards, a student in grades 7 through 12 must pass the equivalency of 5 credits to maintain athletic eligibility. Eligibility is determined based on 9 weeks grading period grades, not semester or year-long averages. A middle school student must pass any 5 classes during a grading period. A high school student must do the same, with the exception that they may not use physical education as one of their credits. Don't confuse credits towards eligibility with credits for graduation. For example, health classes are worth 1/2 credit for graduation, but are a full credit equivalent for eligibility. Once a student meets that OHSAA eligibility criteria, they then must pass Bloom-Carroll's own set of standards. A student that passes the equivalent of 5 credits, but still carries 3 grades below 70%, or 2 grades below 60%, will be placed on academic probation. Academic probation can be used once per school year. While on academic probation, a student athlete may continue to participate in both practices and game contests. If at the next grade check the student still carries 3 grades below 70% or 2 grades below 60%, they would become ineligible for game contests for a 4.5 week period. Those grade checks occur every 4.5 weeks. Homeschooled students and students enrolled in online schools who are residents of our school district are also eligible to participate on our athletic teams. Resident students who attend private schools may participate on our teams as well, but only if those schools do not offer that sport. If you've moved into our district after the 5th day of your freshman year, you must complete the OHSAA's Affidavit of Bonafide Residence change before you can be ruled eligible for athletics. This is a 3-page form available on the OHSAA website, or you can call the athletic office at 614-834-6750 to obtain a copy. A student cannot be permitted to participate in a scrimmage or game contest until the affidavit is submitted to the OHSAA by the athletic office and an official ruling of eligibility is received by the school. If during the year there are custody changes that occur, we just ask you contact the athletic office so that we can ensure that your student athlete maintains his or her athletic eligibility. And lastly, if a student transfers to Bloom-Carroll after the 5th day of their freshman year, they must meet one of the exceptions offered by the OHSAA, or they become ineligible for the second half of any sport they've participated in during the last calendar year, which would include the postseason tournament. The most common example at Bloom-Carroll where this occurs would be an open enrolled student who transfers after the 5th day of his or her freshman year. We're fortunate here at Bloom-Carroll to have a large, strong fan base for our athletic teams. As is always the case, we have an expectation of sportsmanship from both our student athletes and our fans. Remember, let the players play, coaches coach, and officials officiate. Athletes, coaches, and officials will all likely make mistakes in almost all of our games. No one is perfect. Should you choose to act out towards an athlete, coach, or an official, you may be asked to leave the premises. In the event that this occurs, our Board of Education does have a policy in place that could result in a suspension of up to a calendar year for any spectator who is removed from a contest. Be realistic. Not every official is Super Bowl caliber. Not every team of ours will win a championship. And not every athlete will receive an athletic scholarship. While it's great to have high expectations, let's be realistic and remember that this is not professional athletics, and the majority of our student athletes will finish their athletic careers upon their high school graduation. There may be occasions this school year where it's necessary to arrange a meeting with your coach. When these situations occur, please contact your coach directly to address your concerns. It's always best to wait 24 hours to schedule your meeting so that both parties have time to get their emotions in check. Impromptu meetings before or after a practice or game are strongly discouraged. Please schedule your meetings ahead of time and your coach will meet with you, and preferably your athlete. We ask you follow a simple chain of command. Raise your concern with your athlete's coach first. If you cannot come to resolution, then contact the athletic director. If again there is no resolution, your next steps would be building principal, followed by superintendent, and then the Board of Education. By reaching out to your coach first, you're able to get your concerns addressed firsthand, and you eliminate having to relay messages through a third party. Our coaches are required to meet with you, so you're encouraged to address concerns early rather than letting them fester over a series of weeks or months. And remember, our coaches are not required to discuss playing time or other strategy-based decisions. We use a variety of methods to communicate to our stakeholders. To see game scores, pictures, important announcements, find files, and a variety of other information, visit our athletic website at www.bloomcarrollathletics.org. We also encourage you to follow us on social media on Twitter at BC Bulldog Sports and on Instagram at bc.bulldogs.sports. A quick note on cancellations, since we rarely see them in the fall. If school's canceled, all middle school practices and game contests are automatically canceled. High school events may still take place, and you'll receive communication from the athletic office and or your coach letting you know the status of your events or practices. The Bloom-Carroll Athletic Boosters meet the second Monday of every month at 7 o'clock in the Bloom-Carroll Middle School cafeteria. The Athletic Boosters provide uniforms to all of our high school teams. They also purchase a variety of athletic equipment requested by our coaches and have contributed hundreds of thousands of dollars in facility improvements here at Bloom-Carroll. They're currently in dire need of volunteers. Even if you can only donate a small amount of your time, a little help from a lot of people will go a long way. Consider volunteering to our Athletic Boosters to help support all of our student athletes. Athletes in grades 7 through 12 are required to pay pay-to-participate fees. Exceptions to this rule are the sports of tennis, golf, and swimming. Pay-to-participate is $100 per student with a $200 individual cap and a $300 family cap. These fees are due before your first official game contests. Checks should be made payable to Bloom-Carroll schools, or you can pay cash, pay via Easy Pay, or pay via credit card in the athletic office. If you're paying via cash or check, it's strongly recommended that you take your payment directly to the school or athletic office and not deliver that to your coach. We are again collecting all paperwork, excluding your student-athlete physical, via final forms. All parent and athlete signatures must be recorded on final forms, and all athletes must have a valid physical on file before they can practice or play. We'll also be tracking attendance for this meeting via final form signatures as well. As you're probably aware, concussions in athletics continues to be a hot topic. Any athlete that shows signs of a concussion shall be immediately removed from the contest or practice and may not return to play that same day. They must then have written authorization from a medical professional before being cleared to return to practice or competition. The student athlete must complete the multi-step return to play protocol, which they may choose to complete with our athletic trainer, which is most of our athletes will do. We're fortunate enough to have Jeff Clark back again this school year as our athletic trainer. Jeff is available to student athletes in grades 7 through 12 for a variety of services, including, but not limited to, treatment of injuries, injury prevention, injury rehabilitation, concussion testing, and concussion return to play protocol. He can be reached directly at 740-503-9397 or via email at jclark@bloomcarroll.org. His office is located here at the middle school in the hallway behind the gymnasium near the athletic office. During their season of play, a student athlete may not participate on a team outside of school in the same sport until the conclusion of their school season. If they do, they become immediately ineligible for the remainder of their school season. So for example, a volleyball player at Bloom-Carroll could not play in a co-ed volleyball league at a local church during the school season, or they'd become ineligible. This only applies to the same sport. So to revisit our earlier example, a player on a school volleyball team could play in a basketball league at the YMCA during volleyball season and would not be in violation of this OHSAA rule. One exception to this rule is that an athlete can receive individual instruction from a non-school coach during their sports season. An example we see quite often would be a softball player who goes to a hitting instructor on their own time during the school season. that would not be a violation of this rule. The Student Athlete Code of Conduct is listed in our Student Athlete Handbooks, which are posted at www.bloomcarrollathletics.org. Your agreement to abide by the rules stated in those handbooks is included in the forms that you sign on final forms. I want to call attention to just a few of those rules. First, please understand that the Code of Conduct is a 24-hour a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year set of standards. So if an athlete violates that Code of Conduct during the summer months or during the school year when they may not be in season, those violations would carry over until they decide to participate in a sport. Second is our attendance policy. Student athletes must be present during both half-day sessions the day of a game and both half-day sessions the day following a contest. If they are absent for any of those sessions, those absences must be excused by the building principal or assistant principal. If an athlete has an unexcused absence the day of or day after a contest, they'll be ineligible for the next scheduled game contest. And lastly, we are again drug testing our high school student athletes. We partner with Fairfield Medical Center for our testing. The hospital randomly selects 3 to 5% of our rostered athletes during their season, and they test here at Bloom-Carroll Middle School on a weekly basis. The penalties for a positive drug test are also outlined in our Code of Conduct and our Student Athlete Handbook. This meeting is just a sampling of a multitude of scenarios that could arise during your fall sports season. If at any point you have questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact the athletic department at 614-834-6750. You'll also see our fax number listed and email addresses for Christine Evans, the assistant to the AD, and my email at clittle@bloomcarroll.org. Again, if we can ever help you, please do not hesitate to contact us, and have a great fall season. Thanks for taking the time to review the meeting information.